Sunny Goldberg, and welcome to Know Your Neighbors. Today, I am sitting with an actual neighbor, Eve Sicular. I'm used to Evie, who lived across the street from me, babysat my kids, and who is now a very important klezmer band person. Hello, Evie.
Hi, how are you, Sunny?
I'm so good. Thank you for sitting down because I'm fascinated with what you've been doing. Now, let's tell everybody, you are originally from Mamaroneck.
Well, before Mamaroneck in Manhattan, but yeah, then Mamaroneck. Yeah.
And you went through grade school at Central.
I started in 5th grade, and I started at Central the year before they opened the Emelin Theater.
Wow. Oh, that's so fun. And she's going to be at the Emelin December 7th, but we'll talk about that very soon. But you started at Central, went to high school. Oh, they had Homix.
Yeah, Homix was around.
Homix, and then the high school.
Yeah.
Wow. And then from there, you went to college, and you left us.
It's true. Actually, after college, I went for 7 great years in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow.
And then, life kind of drew me back, especially the music scene and, family, back to New York City. But I'm still up here in Mamaroneck, quite often. And it's
well,
really
your
a
mom's
pleasure.
still
My
here.
mom's here, that's right.
Now, I read that the band started in 1994.
Yeah, the first band. And I do have 2, but yes, we started Metropolitan Klezmer officially in 1994. Yeah.
And for someone who doesn't know what klezmer is, I know it's kind of a Yiddish, kind of a jazzy, funky, which we will show them later, but how would you describe it?
Yeah, that was a pretty good description. So it's kind of a roots music, and I would say klezmer is definitely based in all kinds of Yiddish tradition, and then people have taken it in a lot of directions. And for instance, what we do is not only the kind of neo-traditional folkloric, dancing and exuberant, and then also really some soulful, very kind of ethereal pieces and other kinds of repertoire that's very syncopated. Before I ever heard klezmer, I was really into things like Cajun Zydeco. I mean, I still am. And for instance, Greek or Balkan or Turkish music. And this has threads of all those things. Plus, you could do so much with, the retro, but doing your own thing with like Yiddish swing that comes out of some of the Second Avenue theater tradition, or even Yiddish tango, which is a big thing. And we have a piece that we might show later in the show with that.
Now, that's the first band. The second band is the
Isle of Klezbos. So we're an all-women's klezmer band with some of the same women that I was already working with in Metropolitan Klezmer. And
Isle of Klezbos.
Yes, Isle of Klezbos. And as Liza would say, that's Klezbos with a Z, at least in the middle. And so we've really had, a great time. We started that band all the way back in 1998. And between the 2 groups now, we've put out like 8 albums. We've toured nationally, internationally. And it's just always fun to come back, to an area where I really lived part of my life and, see people I remember and also a lot of new people. So
you've been on PBS, CBS This Morning,
HBO,
so many things. You've been designated as one of the finest American klezmer bands. That's really quite something. And tell me some things that you do. Do you do weddings? Do you do?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the great thing about klezmer, because you can both do the things that traditionally klezmer was about, which are like happy occasions, celebrations, parades, all kinds of things that could be part of, a kind of community ritual or something. And then on the other hand, it's become a concert music. That's not originally what it was, but it certainly is for the last, 50 years now, that people really have a sense of what's special about it as a music. And 100 years ago, klezmer was maybe not thought of as something, that was going to be virtuosic. But, even if they were very moved by it. But now you really have both a kind of, beautiful intuition of people just feeling like it's a great time, or it's really touches them in the heart, and gets them dancing and everything. But at the same time, there's a lot of respect for the craft of the music as well.
So you will play for people who hire you, I assume.
Sure.
And you go to concerts?
Well,
because you've opened
yeah.
for a couple of very important people that I read, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, we've done lots of festival work. We've been to Europe and had a number of really wonderful times at Lincoln Center, or we play at Joe's Pub pretty frequently. We're going to be at City Winery in January. We'll be at Symphony Space actually 4 days after the Emelin. So yeah, we have a lot of great feel for an audience, and it's a beautiful thing because I've also been playing with my fellow musicians in this way that we're bandmates. We're really have an affinity for each other, and musically it's just a pleasure. Going to work is really a great thing.
Now, do you have a studio? I know you make CDs.
Yeah.
And they've been very well received.
Thank you.
But do you actually have a studio?
Yeah, we work in different studios. One person in the band has a particularly wonderful studio in her home in Brooklyn. And, everyone has their own projects that they're also part of, whether it's really avant-garde things or, ska and reggae or Latin jazz, classical, very serious Baroque and classical in one person's case. And, everyone in the band actually has more of a formal music training than I do. I'm pretty much self-taught, although I give a lot of credit. My dad
you're the drummer.
I'm the drummer. But my dad was an incredible pianist and actually a wonderful singer, and I just got an ear from him.
Wow.
And his mother also was a very talented pianist. And her family comes from Odessa, which has a very rich musical heritage. So
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think Jews wandered or were thrown out of so many different places. So when you said the Turkish, yeah,
there's an
all
interaction.
the different kinds of I think it just kind of kept moving in this area where they kind of united.
Yeah, and there was influence back and forth. For instance, I'm not an ethnomusicologist, but say music traditions from Romania, you can find a lot of different pieces where you hear source material that is shared, between different communities, and it's a really wonderful thing to be part of. And really, there's a klezmer scene very, very internationally now. When I first got interested in klezmer, it was kind of near the beginning of what people were calling the revival, and now we're couple of generations into and past that idea of klezmer, but
I was on the street. You would see some.
I would
in Grand Central. I saw somebody a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
a drummer.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of schlepping, but I sometimes would bring a snare, let's say, to Union Square and meet up with my clarinetist friend, and by the Gandhi statue.
That's very funny. I know you guys push boundaries. Mm-hmm. And you've been from Lincoln Center to Vienna.
Yeah.
And how do you have time to do two bands, travel, and meet all of those obligations?
Well, that's my job as a band leader, to get that all balanced and make it all happen.
So you have like a calendar, or you do the scheduling?
Yeah, scheduling's a big part of what I do. You're absolutely right. I mean, not only the band itinerary as it's set, but also all the different things when people want to find out what we can do. All the band members, what they might have going on if they're on tour, with some great project to India or Europe. I'm going to find out who's available when. And we also, we sometimes write our own music. We sometimes create arrangements for, beautiful things that I like to concentrate on, things that maybe haven't been heard or played as much. And I've also been a film and photo archivist, like at places like the YIVO Institute.
Right, so you did Yiddish films, correct?
And I was lucky enough to be a curator for different events and different film festivals. So part of my specialty has been looking at older cinema, and there are things in soundtracks that even if a film is pretty well known, people don't necessarily pick up on something that was in the background of, the cabaret scene or,
Right.
and I've made it my mission, to kind of reclaim some of these things, and they've turned out to be some of our favorite repertoire.
It's so funny. I'm thinking about all the places you've been, all the television shows, and I mean, you even met Bonnie Raitt. You did something with her, I saw.
Oh, Pam, our trumpet players
Your
played with
trumpet
Bonnie Raitt,
player.
yeah.
I mean, that.
Yeah.
And here you are for the first time on LMC-TV.
LMC-TV.
Now, how do you like that?
I had to stick with it this long. Right.
Well, I want to show just a little bit of what we're talking about. What actually is klezmer? Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay, go to the, how do they say it? Go to the
clip.
video, go to the clip. Okay, that is terrific. And I watched it at home, and there are a bunch of them that you can watch on YouTube. And you obviously have a website. What is that, Miss
So
Evie?
on the one hand, we have the two bands. So the two websites are for Isle of Klezbos, it's KLEZBOS.com, just klezbos.com. And then metropolitanklezmer.com. That's one word altogether, metropolitan, KLEZMER.com. And our YouTube channel covers both bands, and that is just under my name. So it's youtube.com/EVESICULAR, Eve Sicular.
Okay.
And I want to also say that in addition to that more traditional, kind of exuberant folkloric dance, which you could imagine people being lifted up on chairs and everything, maybe we'll get to share a little bit also of, say, the Yiddish tango that's based on a song that lots of Russian and Polish cultural speakers know. But we were fortunate enough to go looking because I had a feeling a lot of times someone would translate into different languages. And sure enough, we were lucky that for a brief moment on YouTube, a friend of ours helped me in this search. And Yelena says, look at this. And it was somebody had posted it literally from Odessa. We had to transcribe this very colloquial, very great idiomatic Yiddish lyric that they wrote as the translation. And we flew with that. And then, we went back to look, I think, a year later, and they had taken down that thing that we had a chance to learn from, but we still had the version that we put out. So we call that one the Weary Sun Tango because it's based on like the title of it. But, it's also a song that's known in a Russian form from a bunch of different film soundtracks. So again, it's everything interweaving, in a lot of this repertoire. And there's also a very interesting way that when I've done film festival work, it kind of interacts with what I know about musicianship and the history of people, who have done this kind of work and how it's changed from generation to generation. And when we started Metropolitan Klezmer, even before the official start in 1994, it was because I'd met an older gentleman, an incredible player who had the sound from, way back. And he had been born here in 1920, but he worked with the old timers, who were like the generation that brought it across as immigrants. So Howie Lease was his name. And that's the whole reason I started the band, because I met him and I really felt like I was hearing live the things that I'd only been able to listen to on old 78 recordings. And I asked him, and he was so sweet. He said, I said, you know, Howie, my bandmates and I, we just really love your sound. Would you be willing to go do a demo recording with us? You know, he goes, oh, for sure. And he said, and I love when a woman runs the business. He was so right on. Yeah.
Okay, now we have you coming Sunday, December 7th
Yes.
at 2 o'clock.
To Mamaroneck, New York, the Emelin Theater.
So you're coming home, girl, which
Yeah.
is really wonderful. The community itself blows my mind. I mean, on Lily Street alone, there are 5 kids from Mamaroneck High School. You know, it just a real community. And I love that you're coming back and coming to the Emelin. Have you wanted to do that for a while, or how did that come up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and also I'm really glad that it's like a 2 o'clock show. It makes it even more family friendly for everybody.
Exactly.
Kids can come. People who are, you know, they want to drive in the daylight. It's all set. 2 o'clock, you know, you'll be back out. But also, you know, yes, we have played. It's been a while. We've played at the Emelin before. And in fact, one of my favorite albums that we put out was recorded live there. It's Metropolitan Klezmer's album that, you know, we put it out, and it just really sounds like us. Do you know what I mean? It's like our octet sound really came through on that one so well. Our friend David Merrill was the sound engineer on that one. And we've also put on a show that I wrote, which was a kind of, I call it a documentary musical theater piece. And you'll like the title, but I know you'll understand the depth of it also. It was called, and still is called, J. Edgar Klezmer, Songs from My Grandmother's FBI Files.
Oh, my God.
So we had an off-Broadway run that was really great. I mean, it sold out, and the New York Times reviewed it. And then somebody proposed bringing that to the Emelin, too. So when we brought that show, people were really, really, you know, taken by it, but also said, but we want more Klezmer also. So that was in 2015. And so in 2016, we brought back an all Klezmer show again. And so I've been there. You know, I have to say, it's a wonderful size of theater. There are not many communities blessed with the level of tech and just a room like that, you know, that's right in your hometown. And people I know, you know, really like this world-class, you know, wonderful jazz vocalist who we know from other concert work. Catherine Russell was just there. And, you know, I was like, she's filling houses all over Spain this week. You know?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
We moved here from the village. And when I found out there was a theater that I could walk to,
Yeah.
I mean, that was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And you could see all kinds of acts, and we had a film club and the speakers, and how often does that happen?
You know, that's the thing. I think in Europe there's a great deal more of that beautiful kind of diffusion of culture to all these really well-equipped places. But, you know, we've played, you know, there's one place in Maryland, not far from D.C., we've played that's similar to this, or down in, you know, we're going to be like in February and back for the 3rd time at Arts Garage in Delray Beach. You know, that's a great house of a similar kind of caliber and size and well-equipped. But, you know, there aren't enough. I mean, and it's a good thing that, you know, Mamaroneck and Larchmont do support this great cultural manifestation. Oh, I want to tell you a story, because the first time I was there as a kid, because, you know, it's great how much community use there is of
At
this.
the Emelin.
Yeah, the Emelin is just so well utilized.
High school and the Homics used to have programs there. I
Now,
think they still
my
do.
year, they didn't actually do the school musical there. Like, I know that was a thing for a while, or maybe after us. But when I was a kid, I think when I was already at Homics, sometimes you didn't know the kids already from the other elementaries, right? So there was this really talented girl who was probably the year after. I know now she was the year after me. And I thought, wow, who's that? And her name was Beth, and it was Beth Barrage, who grew up to be Elizabeth Barrage. And, you know, of course I got to know her after that. But I still remember the first I ever saw her was performing in her leotard in whatever show we were in together at the Emelin. And, you know, then she went on to be...
That's something we should do, is make a list of the people who started at the Emelin. And
well, I don't know. She started a few places,
I'm sure they started in other places. I mean, it's like the movie theater. Charlie Chaplin was there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking in 1920. D.W. Griffith.
Griffith, yeah.
So much in this
Well, Griffith, right there,
right
down the
on
road
Flagler,
with the Gish sisters.
Exactly, which is hard to imagine. But getting back to you and community, to me, it's all about bringing people together, and that, like you say, kind of user-friendly place. And you can get up and dance or move, and nobody is obnoxious. I mean, I've seen people all stand up and move around, and you can't sit when you guys play.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate that. It's a comfortable place for people, and they do have the sense like this is our hometown stage, which is a great feeling, to be in a room like that. And you're going to come and, there'll be all kinds of people, but there'll definitely be some people you already know. And it's fun. It's like you're having a gathering, Yeah. And we welcome also, the idea that they're equipped for something, like doing a theater piece there. They had it all. They had the right kind of, audiovisual, really very well done. I mean, this was a thing that, we had a major off Broadway run in a place that was very, very well equipped, and the Emelin could totally match that. That was great.
It's pretty nice, huh?
Yeah.
And there's 4 members with you, it's 5?
6 altogether.
6,
including
okay.
the vocals, but you're right, 5
So are they
instrumentals.
also New Yorkers, or did they have?
Yeah. And actually Metropolitan Klezmer is, depending who's playing, at 7 or 8, but then Isle of Klezbos, 4 of us overlap between the 2 bands. So
otherwise, that would be very difficult for you getting together.
Well, we've got a great horn section. We're more of a sort of almost like the instrumentation you'd have for a big band.
You told
except
me
there's
about
an
the
accordion.
trumpeter.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have our special guest trombonist, who's not always there with Isle of Klezbos, but she's from Metropolitan Klezmer. We're importing her. And then our accordionist is for the all women's band, is this also incredible pianist. And part of what Shoko does is she uses different parts of the piano than you would ordinarily see someone performing with. But she'll have the piano fully open so that there are parts of the strings that she's not always using the keys. I mean, that's a special solo thing that she does. But she's just. She puts you into a dream state. And I think everybody in the band really has that level of, when they're soloing. And they're so just really gifted musicians, really just so creative, seasoned, but also just always imaginative, always fun.
It's very heartening that you said, you didn't go to school to be a musician.
I played those shows, those
But
groups.
it's heartening that all of these women got together, and you can appreciate everybody's abilities and hear one another.
Yeah.
And that's quite something, really.
Yeah, we've got, the people who basically I am honored to serve these alumnae, that's with the AE at the end, right? From, Juilliard and Eastman and Manhattan School and Berkeley School of Music. And I'm happy with the degree that I got, but that was a history and literature thing. But I've been playing shows, so many things the whole time through. And, every semester in college was like a different, musical adventure. But I took some music. I had good training at Manus as a kid,
That's
but
so funny, though.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Now, we are nearing the end. It's gone very fast, Miss Eve. But is there anything I forgot to ask you, or you want to make sure we get out there?
Well, I'll tell you this. Because I'm talking about doing music and film, our latest album by Isle of Klezbos is called Yiddish Silver Screen, and it focuses particularly on all these wonderful pieces that are, sometimes from really esoteric sources, but just really gorgeous and really just unknown things that the arranging was a real, joint effort. And it's cliche, but it really was a labor of love.
Sounds like you should be down at the Heritage Museum.
All of the above, but also taking it into unexpected places, not trying to recreate it as like a museum piece, really doing other things with it.
To have other people who may not be familiar, especially at times of discord and really unfortunate, not just anti-Semitism, but hate. around all. It's so delightful to have something that gives you a lift.
Yeah, and we're very much about, representing so many different cultures with great respect. And one of the things that I like to do with the show is, for instance, we have a number called Reverie in Hijaz. And I like to point out that, and the title is a little bit of a play on Rhapsody in Blue, but I mean, Hijaz is like the blues scale. It's a musical mode. And it's something that's in Arabic classical music that's very, very close musicologically to what we have in Jewish cantorial music. And so there are so many things that I think it's really important to understand, the things that do run as a thread and are so so deep. You could spend a lifetime exploring. And I think it's really something that, as a musician, you can explore something sometimes even without language and reach an understanding.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes music gives you language, and I remember riding in a car and hearing a song that when I was in high school. I can tell you, ba 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 ba, Brian. I can't sing.
Oh, I know what you mean. Ba ba ba.
Ba.
Yeah, ba ba.
And
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. And you just go, oh my God, I have the best memory of that.
Yeah.
Or you can hear something and you feel like art.
And that's
language,
important.
Really.
I didn't grow up with klezmer music per se. I grew up with so much music, but when I found this form, it really spoke to me. And I mean, first of all, there's, like I said, with Mr. Howie Leese, that level of the clarinet as something otherworldly, but also even hearing Yiddish was like this, I was a New Yorker, so it was around, but I couldn't even believe
Right.
that people my age would know this language. And now I've been a student, I've been an archivist, I've been all these things, and it's so enriched my understanding, of family, of history, of the ways that things are more complex and more full. There's no one story,
So
but
funny.
it was really important for
I
me.
was at the
Yeah.
gala for LMC, and we had a couple of lovely people volunteered to MC. And I afterwards said to them, oh my God, that was so Hamish. And she said, huh?
Yeah.
And I said, it means, so lovely, so nice. And she said, email me that. I want to know that word. And it was so adorable.
Yeah.
Because things have come into everyday usage that you would never realize in terms of, there's all kinds of Yiddish words.
But it used to be very taboo as well. I mean, there was a whole way that people disparaged this culture, which is another reason it's beautiful to be able to bring it into this wonderful experience.
Good way to end. Really, how wonderful. And thank you for sitting down with me. And maybe you'll come again and we'll actually see you play.
Fantastic.
Okay. And all of you out there, thank you for watching. See you again next time. And don't forget, Evie and the
Isle of Klezbos at the Emelin Theater,
Theater.
Sunday afternoon, December 7th, 2
at 2
p.m.
o'clock. Exactly.
Come on down. It'll be fun.
Bring your kids, bring your families, or whatever. And again, thanks for watching. Sunny Goldberg saying bye for now.